This is CG Ruthless Sports. I will be brutally honest. Ain't nothing but being brutally honest. Coming at you with another video. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Niner Nate Nonsense. What's up, bro?
How you doing, man? Pleasure to be here. Doing all right. The schedule came out, so that much closer to football, right?
Hell yeah, man. Tell everybody where they can find you on social media platform.
So they can find me at NinerNate49 on Twitter. And then if you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, like you said, it's Niner Nate's Nonsense. Just search it up. There's only one of them. You go there, you'll find it.
Yeah, man, you got a good content, man. I've seen you like get your channel here and there, man, but you're not like very active, but you do put on some good entertainment, man. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, I'm still just getting started out. Once the season gets started, we'll be a lot more active. Right now, I'm just doing like one show a week, planning on, doing 2 shows eventually, like little news blurbs, different things like that as the season goes. But right now, just kind of getting things started, getting the wheels turning. We're still a couple months away from like actual football.
Yeah, months away. But speaking of it, like, what was your thoughts of the draft?
With the draft, so my thing was, they kind of know who they are. They know that now that, it's a lot different now than it was 2 or 3 years ago, where they were pretty confused on how to build a football team. It felt like they were kind of just, putting things out and seeing what happens. Now they have a built football team, right? They have a pretty decent squad. And so now at this point, you're just trying to build guys to either fill little holes or potentially start, a year down the line once a guy leaves in free agency because you don't want to pay him. Just finding ways to keep that salary cheap is probably really important just for the future of this team, because you're in a division where the Rams, a lot of people continue to talk about how the Rams, they keep getting away with it. I think that is about to fall. I think we're about to see here soon the Rams continuance to just spend money and spend money and spend money. Eventually, that is going to collapse on them. And I think San Francisco's strategy will eventually work, especially if Trey Lance is a stud. I think that if Trey Lance is a stud, this is a great draft because they went up and they got the most important thing, I think, for this team. And the most important for this team is replacing Dee Ford with someone of talent. And I really feel like when Dee Ford was on the team in 2019, not only were they one of the best pass rushing teams, but they were able to like literally take the heart out of another team. And so they would go out there, take their heart, and then they could easily get the W. And so if Drake Jackson turns out to be anything like Dee Ford, it's a phenomenal draft already. And then you look at some of the other picks, Tyrion David Price, they may have picked him too early, but they know what they want in running backs. They know how to run the ball, and this is a guy they wanted, so I kind of have to trust them there. The second pick was... I'm trying to remember who it was. Oh, shoot. Damn. Who was the pick in the second pick in the third... The first pick in the third round? Who was it? Do you remember?
Well, no, it was that running back.
There was another one, wasn't there? There was the running back.
No, Danny Gray.
Danny Gray. Yeah, Danny Gray. I really like Danny Gray. I think that, I was pretty much on the, if you can get Christian Watson, go get him. And obviously, he wasn't there. And so, I was like, oh, maybe Sky Moore, maybe Pickens, and they just kept falling. And the Niners just stayed where they were. They didn't want to trade up because this, that's what they just wanted to see what happens. And Danny Gray falling to him is really exciting because he's a deep threat. We have a quarterback who can throw the ball deep. That's exciting. So, and then the rest of the guys, I don't want to go too in depth on every single pick, but if you want to talk about it, we can. But I just felt like they really figured out a lot of depth guys, a lot of guys who could potentially start in place of injury. And this league is becoming more and more important every single year about, guys who get injured, having a guy behind them who can then play. And I think that the Niners know that, and I think that's why they drafted the way they did.
Yeah, we drafted based by best available at times, but the pass rush, to me, getting Drake Jackson was you're getting to get the potential future need, because after next year, majority of our pass rushers are going to be free agents. So people are just starting to try to like scratch their head a little bit. And I'm like saying, no. This is just because next year we're not going to have enough edge rushers. So you definitely need to get somebody like Drake Jackson to be ready.
And they're going to pay Nick Bosa. And so when you pay Nick Bosa, it kind of changes what you can do on the pass rushing front. And I think that they are heavily reliant on Kinlaw being good. If Kinlaw isn't good, it kind of puts him in a weird situation because it's right now, it's, in my opinion, it's probably Bosa, Kinlaw, Armstead, Jackson, and then you rotate with all your different guys you have, because you have a million different pass rushers, and you kind of see what you have in, like, the Chemical Tourés, all those other dudes. And those guys can come in, on second, but you need to have a third down pass rush. And if Drake Jackson is a stud and Kinlaw can finally be the player we all hoped he was when he was drafted in the first round, this is a pass rush that on third down I don't want to face. And I'm hoping that that's the case with this team this year. It's going to be kind of a wait and see to see how it all goes. Is Drake Jackson going to be an absolute stud right out the gate? Maybe, maybe not. We'll obviously see.
It's a lot to do with proper coaching, because at USC, he was very talented. It's just the poor coaching. They put him at a place. I think he was better off what he was as a freshman, because he was a little bit heavier. He was a little more explosive. He was able to dominate. But when they put him at a different position and him dropping 20 pounds of weight, man, I don't know how that would work. But
yeah,
he made the most out of it. But I think with him getting properly coached at this Niners defense, and we're going to be able to make the most out of him, because Chris Kaczmarek can coach anybody up and bring the best out of him. And that's what Drake Jackson seems to like about is this type of coaching. So this might benefit him.
Yeah, I really feel like the Niners are kind of blessed with Chris Kaczmarek, because not only do they have a ton of talent at defensive line, but now they have probably arguably the best defensive line coach in the NFL. And so when you get drafted to the 49ers, first of all, you have Nick Bosa. And when you have Nick Bosa, that's going to help you get sacks. It's going to help you get to the quarterback, because he's just a monster. I mean, how many players in the NFL are like Nick Bosa? I could probably name 3, 4, 5 total, maybe, but no one, I don't think anybody's is even that close. I think maybe you could say TJ Watt and Nick Bosa are kind of on the same plane. But when it comes to pass rushers, he's in a plane of his own. And then plus that, you also have Chris Kaczmarek, who is coaching you up, making you a better football player, and just helping you, further your game. It's just a dream come true for Drake Jackson. The kid has to be like smiling from ear to ear, like off camera. The fact that he got drafted to a team with Nick Bosa and Chris Kaczmarek, it's an absolute blessing. And if he's a stud, the 49ers are going to wreck people this year, because I don't know, CJ, do you remember in 2019 at the Carolina Panthers game, the Carolina Panthers took their ball and left in the third quarter? Like, when was the last time you saw a team take their ball and leave in the third quarter against any team? I haven't seen it much. And for the 49ers to just take the will out of a team like they did, it just shows how talented they are at that pass rush. And if that pass rush can continue to get good or get better, then the sky's the limit for this football team.
Yeah, our defense from that year was phenomenal. Like, we were just wrecking havoc, but the only problem with that is, you can say the stats and all that was all great on defense, but we didn't win a damn Super Bowl. And I just don't like to, you can say it's a great season, but I just want the damn Super Bowl. And there's just nothing. I take that standard serious, man. Like, we can just enjoy those stats and glories, man. But at some point we got to get to that 6 Lombardi, man. I love the defense, but did it get us anywhere? Nah.
And I think that when you think about the 49ers and like what's kept them from really getting to that Lombardi, right? I think that the NFL has changed. We're like, yeah, you can have a great defense, but if your quarterback stinks, it's a lot harder to win a Super Bowl now than it was, back in 2000 when the Ravens did it. And so, in an ideal world, Trey Lance is a stud, and when you have a stud at quarterback, anything's possible. And so, I just really hope that Trey Lance is the guy and he turns out to be as good as we all hope. Because if he is, the 49ers will probably go on a dynasty run, because Kyle Shanahan is a stud. I mean, he's a great coach. And then they've drafted well for the most part. They have a good football team. And I just think that they know how to keep these guys together. They know how to pay, who to pay. It seems like that Deebo Samuel situation is probably going to get figured out here in the next couple months, and he'll be here long term. And as long as Deebo's here, I believe they can compete every year just because that guy's unbelievable. The guy is I haven't seen a wide receiver do the stuff he did in my entire life. And I'm 31 years old. Like, I've never seen anyone do that. And I never, obviously, only got to watch Jerry Rice a little bit, but the stuff Deebo Samuel's doing, it just doesn't seem possible for a wide receiver. His body is just built different. He's built different. And so if they can pay him and bring him back, plus Trey Lance being good at quarterback, I think we're going to get that 6th Lombardi here real soon.
Yeah, speaking of Deebo Samuel, man, it's like, has there been any other player of his caliber like that? Like the closest, like the only one I can think of in that level was Cordero Patterson, when he could have been used a little more back then. But then you had Percy Harvin, but it just wasn't close to what Deebo had. Deebo was just a punisher. Like, he was more like an Antonio Brown type receiver that could break tackles, but then he was like that running back, like the AP at running back, running you over and getting those chunk of plays right there. That was what Deebo stood out. He was like 2 players in one. Like, you could just put him in the Barry Sanders, put him in the Jerry Rice. This guy was unstoppable. Like, he carried our offense. Like, despite Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback, we were in a deeper hole to get to the playoffs, and Deebo carried this team. He took some of the load because of the injuries at running back, and the production just got better because we got him the ball more. And as the season progressed, this guy became one of the best all-around player. And Absolutely. This guy wants to take away the role off of running back. I don't know, man. Like, I think it's leverage for him to get the top dollars.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's part of it, right? I think that he just wants to get a ton of money. And I think that the 49ers, have really seen, what happened with A.J. Brown. He didn't get paid as much, I think, as people thought. Like, I think a lot of people were like, oh, AJ is going to get like 30, and then came nowhere close to 30. And so I think that happening on draft night obviously changed something with the 49ers. The fact that the offers weren't that good, I think, with 49ers were like, well, screw this. And so I'm hoping the 49ers are going to be smart. They're going to, talk to Deebo, get something done, and make him stay here for a long time, because I think Trey Lance deserves to have Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Danny Gray, have a good slew of weapons with Kyle Shanahan, because I think with a good slew of weapons, a talented offensive line, a great offensive play caller, and, the superstars that we already have, I think that's going to make Trey Lance a much better quarterback than Jimmy Garoppolo ever was.
Yeah, the upside, the way he throws the ball, it's off the charts, and he can run, he can do audibles. Just the only thing he needed to work on was his mechanics, because his accuracy just needed a lot of work on those percentage, but it's coachable, so that's going to get there. He'll do a lot of that training camp. All he has to do is just do a lot of practicing with his teammates and work with some coaches, like those those training coaches, and work on those mechanics, those footworks, and know how to freaking slide. Because if he doesn't take the proper sliding, he's going to get injured. And I like his upside. I feel like he is definitely the guy that we definitely need to build our offense around, because this offense is going to evolve with quarterbacks that can move in the pocket. Like, we haven't had a quarterback quite like this. And I know a lot of people hate this guy, but we haven't had a quarterback in that similar mobility since Kaepernick. Kaepernick was able to move, but he wasn't quite the accurate quarterback like everybody was making it seem like. But when you look at the way Trey plays, he plays with more poise. He plays more in the mental mindset, and he's a smart kid, very smart kid from North Dakota State.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to a lot of guys. I talked to recently, one of the first episodes on the YouTube channel when I launched it was with someone who is a pretty big North Dakota State guy. And he was telling me basically that the thing with Trey Lance is he's so smart, he's so talented, that him sitting for a year probably made him an even better player, just because of the fact that when you go to North Dakota State, you sit for a year generally behind a quarterback, and then you come in the next year and you start with the full knowledge of the playbook, full knowledge of everything that's going on. Well, Trey Lance is so smart and he picks up things so fast. I mean, there were times from, things I've heard that Trey Lance almost started last year because he's so talented, and he also picked up the playbook, knew what he was doing. The problem was he was injured when the season started, because he got injured in a preseason game. And so maybe if he doesn't get injured, they maybe give it more of a chance for it to be a competition. And who knows, maybe he was starting last year, but he's earned the starting job this year. through that Houston game alone. That was a must-win game, and I understand people say, oh, it's just Houston. But Houston beat a playoff team, or what should have been a playoff team, in San Diego the week before by blowing them out of the water. And, Justin Herbert couldn't not throw an interception. All he did was throw an interception that whole game. And the Chargers, people forget, the Chargers should have been a playoff team. The Raiders were going to tie that game, and the Chargers did something stupid, and the Raiders decided to score, kick the field goal, and kick the Chargers out of the playoffs. The Chargers were a playoff team, and Houston beat their butt, kicked their butt all over. And then Trey Lance comes in the following week. Maybe the game plan was a little weird. They wanted to run the ball a lot. But when Trey Lance finally got the chance to show who he was, he went out there and he balled out, and he showed that he should be the quarterback of this team. And, you could say it's just Houston. That's still an NFL football team. It doesn't matter. To go out there and find a way to win that game when it's a must-win game and do that with that kind of pressure, that should mean something. And I really think that people underestimate the talent this kid possesses, the brains this kid possesses, and just the mental fortitude. It sounds like this kid, all he wants to do is win, and I think that's all we want him to do as well.
I like his attitude, and plus he was undefeated at North Dakota State, and he had the fewer interceptions in college, which he only had one career pick, and he went to an entire season without a single interception, which is unheard of. Like, you don't see that much stats, but people are going to say, well, he played in a smaller competition. That's why the stats are what they are. But then you look at the fact that you had guys like Carson Wentz that played in that same program. You had guys like, you can say what you want about the competition. You could say there were a lot of good quarterbacks. Josh Allen played in the Mountain West, which to me is a Boy Scout competition, if I had to be honest. Derek Carr played in that weak competition too. So It doesn't matter where you play at. If you can still play at the highest level, it shouldn't matter. I mean, you can say what you want, but I think he translates well because he has the tools, he has the skill set that takes it to the next level.
Yeah, I mean, and I think people don't realize that, North Dakota State's been trying to get added to like a real college division, and they just aren't allowed to, because I think that there are people that are actually afraid they could get into an SEC and actually do some damage. They're just that talented. They've always been that talented. They're always the best. There's no one ever better than North Dakota State. And so to be that talented, I don't care if it is Division II football, to always win and always almost be undefeated, that still takes a lot to do. And so I never understand that argument of Division II. It's scout the player, don't scout the conference. And I really think when you watch Trey Lance and the stuff he can do and the way that he understands an NFL offense and what he can actually do with his arm, that after this year of sitting, I think that the future is really bright. And I think that one thing that was interesting is, and I haven't really told many people this, CG, and so I was thinking about this the other day. When I first scouted Trey Lance, in the offseason last year, I was like, this kid needs to sit for a year. Absolutely. Justin Fields is ready to go. You draft Justin Fields. But the 49ers, they saw that Trey Lance can sit for a year and be the star. And if they're right, then I think everyone on Niners Twitter, everyone owes the 49ers an apology, because I was part of that. I really want Jimmy Garoppolo gone train last year. Just start the rookie, just start him. But I think that they were smart. They held on to their laurels, and whether that was the right thing or not, we're going to find out. But the fact that they didn't cave and they continued to do what they wanted to do and what Trey Lance probably should have done, everything I saw with Trey Lance, I was like, this kid should probably sit for a year. The fact that he sat for a year and, he's the quarterback this year, we'll see what happens. If he comes out and he sets this league on fire, everyone owes the 49ers an apology, because that means they got this 100% right and they knew exactly what they were doing.
Yeah, last year, I had no idea they were going to move up to the number 3 spot. So it just caught me off by surprise. Like hypothetically, I would have thought differently, but then I started thinking, because people were saying that they have to go for a quarterback. So I'm like, pretty much, it seems like it. And then I was on the Beast Riders show like a year ago. So like we were discussing about the potential quarterback they were going to look to get. And quite a few were pretty much saying that it was either Mac Jones or Justin Fields. And I think he was picking towards Justin Fields for whatever reason. But I told him, dude, I don't even think it's him or Mac Jones. Personally, usually the Niners keep it low key. And I had a good feeling when I was checking out Trey Lance because I've heard a lot of like this unknown quarterback you didn't hear about, like the best one. Like they had this highlight film talking about this unknown commodity, but talking how this guy is never talked about, but he becomes flying into the scene. And I watched this kid's tape. He's moving up draft boards, and I'm hearing this name Trey Lance, and I'm saying, oh, this is exactly what Shanahan wants in his quarterback. And I'm like thinking, some people thought, oh, you either had to pick Fields or Mac Jones. No way they're going to pick Trey. You're crazy. And I'm like, dude, I have a feeling they're going to go with this guy because, one, Jimmy Garoppolo will be our quarterback this year, and Trey will just sit on the bench. That's how I looked at it. Like, if you're going to still keep Jimmy Garoppolo, you might as well get somebody on the bench to learn. And I had a good feeling it was going to be Trey Lance. And then people started like giving me apologies and say, oh, you were right about that one. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I'm just curious, what they end up doing with Jimmy Garoppolo this season. He's not going to play. We all know he's not going to be the starter. I think they'll probably end up just cutting him when his shoulder's back to normal. But it does kind of suck that he really killed the trade value for him because it felt like, John Lynch said the other day, we had a trade set up and then he gets the surgery and screws the 49ers over. I'd like to, a different world where he doesn't get the surgery and they maybe have a better relationship or whatever it is. I'd like to see what kind of trade value he actually had because it sounded like they could have got like a third or a fourth for him, but it doesn't matter anymore. Eventually he'll come back, his shirt will be fine, and then get his ass out of here.
Well, here's the hypothetically what can happen. Like, let's say he does stay, but let's say we give him a pay cut. I'm not on the Jimmy train either, but you never know what happens with injuries, so you want to always stay ahead of the game. You look at the Philadelphia Eagles when they had Carson Wentz, who was the capable backup to win them a Super Bowl.
I'm a little different there. I don't think they need Garoppolo here. I think that
they don't.
I think it's just a waste to have him here. If he takes a pay cut, sure, but the question is, why would you take a pay cut, to stick around and not start? I think that there are teams that if he got cut, he could start and make, not starting caliber money, like maybe like 10, 11. I think that's to give a guy when you sign him who's not guaranteed to start. But Carolina is in a weird position because they don't trust Sam Darnold. And Matt Corral is still a year off, right? He's even less ready than Trey Lance is. Why not, if they cut Jimmy Garoppolo, would you not bring Jimmy in immediately and be like, hey, you want to start? Or just have a competition between him and Sam Darnold? Because I think he wins a competition between him and Sam Darnold. I don't like Jimmy Garoppolo, but he's better than Sam Darnold.
Yeah, he is. Like, he wins games. And the thing that sucks about it is if we do cut him, it's going to attract a lot of teams that desperately need a quarterback because they weren't buying into this trade value. They weren't going to give us nothing. Like, if Jimmy gets cut, think of who can attract him. Seattle. Maybe they're not really sure about Drew Lock. Maybe they are going to look to just take one of our sloppy seconds. Knowing how they are just the people who take sloppy seconds. You got, like you said, Carolina, potentially the Jets. Knowing maybe uncertain, but they are going to go with Zach Wilson, or maybe, like you said, it could be a team who desperately needs a quarterback, like maybe Detroit. But it opens a door for all other teams that desperately need a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of a lot of teams. So Pittsburgh, I think, would be one that might hit him up because we all know that Trubisky sucks, but they did draft Kenny Pickett, so maybe they're just going to put out Kenny Pickett. I think Kenny Pickett needs to sit for a year. The whole Jimmy Garoppolo thing is so weird because there are teams he could start for, right? But are those teams going to be willing to, bring him in for 10 to 11 million when they have a guy who is their future, going forward? Corral is the future probably in Carolina, or at least they hope, right? Pickett is the future in Pittsburgh. Tennessee, I don't think would even think about blinking at Jimmy Garoppolo. I think maybe the Eagles could bring him in if they don't really feel comfortable with Hurts. There are teams, right? It's just how much are they willing to spend that much money? Because I don't think they're willing to spend, the $25 million. I don't think the 49ers are going to get a trade. I think they're going to have to cut him because I just don't think he's going to take a pay cut either. I mean, if he does, that'd be great, right? I just don't see it.
Yeah. I like you said, it could be one of the other teams, but when you look at it this way, like, if you cut him, Seattle might just take him, and that's the bad side, man. They can
I
just
want Seattle to take him. I want it to happen.
Well, you do?
Kick their ass with it. Yeah. I want to kick his ass.
What if he wants payback, man? That's not a good thing, but hopefully.
He ain't getting no payback against us. They know Jimmy Garoppolo better than anybody. He's not going to come in and beat us.
Exactly.
Do you realize? Okay, CJ. Do you realize how bad the Seahawks are? I thought we were going to do this when we looked at the schedule. Do you realize how bad they are? That roster is decimated. Like, they went out and traded 2 first-round picks for a box safety, and that's their best player on defense. A box safety. Are you kidding me? And then their pass rush. Who's rushing the passer? Because I don't know. Their best passer is supposed to be Kerry Hyder, and he sucks. And so he came to San Francisco because, like, well, I stink, but when I play with the 49ers and Chris Kasurk, at least I don't stink. And then everyone else on that team is just awful outside of DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. And Drew Lock, oh, my God. Like, no. Jimmy Garoppolo he could go there and he'd still get his ass kicked. I'm not worried about that at all. The Seattle Seahawks are an absolute freaking joke, man.
Oh man, I guess I'm not thinking the way you think logical, man. Like, I guess that would be a disaster because our defense will get to them. Like, here's the crazy part: Jimmy Garoppolo and Baker Mayfield ain't even wanted by any other team right now. They have to get cut. That's crazy.
I think that they're okay with cutting him. I really think that relationship is just destroyed, man. I really do. Like, for him to do that shit. So just imagine this real quick with me. All right. Lost to the Rams. That sucks. What a hard day this was. Let's go back to just start cleaning out our lockers. All right. We're going to go to Cancun. All right. I'm going to go hang out with this Instagram girl. All right. I'm going to go to the store and get some fiber foods ready for the season. Okay. I'm going to go hang out with another Instagram girl. Okay. I'm going to go to Mexico. Oh, crap. It's been a month. Surgery time. Like, what the hell? That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. For him to do all this stuff and then be like, okay, now I'm going to go get the surgery. That is malicious intent. He always intended to do this maliciously. This is not something he's like, oops, I forgot to do the surgery, because that's not how these dudes work. They're all about screwing them over. He's pissed because they went out and got Trey Lance. He's like, I've taken you to a Super Bowl, an NFC Championship game, and you're going to replace me? Yeah, but you've been healthy all 2 seasons, and you're hurt every single year. We're replacing you because not only that, but let's be honest here, you're not very good. You're like a top 20 quarterback at best, and when you're awful, you are top tier awful. So, and I think he probably does want released. I think Brian Culp is right. I think he wants to be released. I don't think he wants to play here, and I think that he's ready to be released and go get another team. That's why I think he's done all this. They can't trade him. As soon as the shoulder's ready, he's getting cut.
Yeah, he's going to Seattle. I got a feeling if we cut him, he's going straight to Seattle. Like, why
would it happen?
Like, their reload, I think, like, everybody's talking in Seattle, oh, we're not rebuilding, we're reloading. Maybe they're just waiting for Jimmy to get cut. You know how Seattle is. They'll take the scoops and say, hey, let's get Jimmy. So,
honestly, I'm down for it. Do it. Do it, Pete, you stupid asshole. Do it. I dare you. It's not going to win you any games. Your team
the Golden Girl, Pete.
He's such a joke, man. He's such a joke. Like, the guy is too old to be a head coach. And, like, the NFL has completely passed him by. He has no idea what he's even looking at anymore. His defensive scheme is so reliant on top-tier talent being there. And they have none. They have a box safety as their best pass rusher.
9 sacks, yeah. 9.5. Yeah, he had 9.5 sacks that year. And that's their best edge rusher is their box safety. Come on. And he's a safety, not a pass rusher.
Exactly. It's stupid. The Seattle Seahawks are a non-factor. Like, we could talk about the Cardinals. We could talk about the Rams. The Seattle Seahawks are probably going to be the number 1 seed. I really think they're the number 1 pick. I think they're going to get, CJ, or they're going to get Bryce Young. Bryce Young. I was close. There was a B and a Young, but yeah. So I think they're going to be the number 1 pick next year. I don't think they're going to win more than 3 games.
I hope so. I hope we sweep them this year. But speaking of it, man, we got an NFL schedule, man. I know I was giving you the heads up on the schedule, man. We're getting to that part, man. So we got the Bears week 1. What do you think of that matchup, man?
This is the battle of the quarterbacks that Kyle Shanahan could have had, right? Like they got Trey Lance. Justin Fields is the Bears quarterback. The Bears are also dog crap. They're awful. They're terrible. They have nothing I'm afraid of. There's nothing about that team that I'm even remotely startled by or think twice about before I go to sleep. They should blow these dudes out. But it's the first game of his, real first season as the starting quarterback. It'll be interesting. But I just don't see the Bears being a threat. I think this is a great first game to get the dust off, come out, maybe start a little slow, find a way to win at the end. I think that they'll be okay. The game, it starts to get hard after the first two games, I think. And it's nice that the first two games are easy games because I think that's going to help Trey Lance a ton and help Kyle Shanahan figure this thing out.
Yeah, like you get Chicago, which will be a little tough than Seattle. Seattle's going to be more like a tune-up. I mean, I don't know. Hopefully, y'all Seattle fans don't take it personal, man. I think we're going to sweep y'all this year. It's just, I don't know. Like, you guys are still rebuilding. You're going to give us some problems, but it's not going to be like the old problems. Like, come on. You got to win with Drew Lock?
They are going to murder the Seattle Seahawks. I just want to tell, okay, CG, real quick. We're going to go with this. The Seattle Seahawks have owned the 49ers so badly for like 10 years. You think Kyle Shanahan isn't like, all right, guys. Can I swear here? Are you cool?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. You're nonsense. Go ahead.
Let's fuck these motherfuckers up. Like they are literally just going to go into those games with the intention on running the score up on those bastards because they are so bad. Drew Lock is going to eat dirt for 4 quarters every game because he has no offensive line. I understand like DK and Tyler are still good. He's not going to have the time to even get him the ball. This isn't Russell Wilson anymore running around like an idiot doing freaking circles. This is Drew Lock. Have you watched Drew Lock before, CG? He's absolutely fucking terrible. He is so bad. He is terrible. They are going to blow these dudes out of the water, and they're going to embarrass them back to Seattle. You will never see another 12 at Levi's ever again after what the 49ers do to them this year. There's no chance in hell that the Seahawks even come close to beating the 49ers in these games just because they are just decimated. That roster is trash.
Yeah, speaking of the roster, man, how long did it take Pete Carroll to realize that Ken Norton's not the answer as a defensive coordinator? Now they go with a defensive line coach who's freaking overweight than this fool. Come on, man. Does this guy know any damn defense? What's he kind of changing? The scheme? We're probably going to out-scheme this team. And then you look at Seattle. Like, how are you going to go from Russell Wilson to Drew Lock? This is the same exact guy who couldn't even do nothing in Denver. And then you see what the only thing that was relevant about Drew Lock's entire life career was pretty much dating the Chiefs owner's daughter. That's all he had relevance for. He had nothing. He was just garbage.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is they haven't drafted well at all. Maybe this year they will be different, but ever since Russell Wilson and ever since the Legion of Boom broke up, so meaning Cam Chancellor and Earl Thomas left. So I think this was probably 5 or 6 years ago Earl Thomas finally left. Remember when he flipped him off and he's walking off the field?
Yeah.
Or when he's getting carted off the field. From that year on, the Seahawks haven't drafted well. Russell Wilson is just so fucking good that they found ways to win and make the playoffs. Because this man literally has willed some of the most garbage rosters I've ever seen in my entire life to playoffs games. He's just that good. And so now that he's not there, what are they going to do? I don't know. Because they can't have him just will them to wins. I was looking at the Seahawks. I have to pull this up real quick. I was looking at the Seahawks schedule this year. I want you to stop me when you hear a win, okay?
All right.
At home against the Denver Broncos and Russell Wilson.
Murdered. At
San Diego.
No,
at
they're
LA.
done.
At San Francisco.
Oh, it's a double murder.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did it wrong. So it's at San Francisco. Here's the first game they may win. It's the Falcons at home. Maybe. At the Detroit Lions, I think they lose to the Detroit Lions. They are so bad. At the Saints, they'll lose to the Saints. Arizona at home, they're going to lose that game. At the Chargers, they're going to lose that game. New York at home, maybe they win that game. That's 2 wins. Okay. At Arizona, hell no. Tampa Bay in Germany, no. The Raiders,
they're done.
no. The Rams, no. The Panthers, maybe. San Francisco, no. The Chiefs, no. The Jets, the Rams, like, what? There's 4 wins on that schedule, maybe. Like, what are we talking about? The Seahawks fans are so delusional. They pretend like Russell Wilson being hurt last year and now he's injury prone. The guy played almost 10 seasons without getting injured. What are we even talking about? Like,
yeah, like they need to get off that damn coffee shit because they've been on crap.
I want to tell you something, and I want your audience to remember this. No matter how bad things get in your life, no matter how awful things get in your life, no matter how hard things get in your life, just remember, at least you don't have to root on fucking Drew Lock and pretend he's good, because that's what they have to do up there in Seattle right now.
Yeah, I guess we had to do it that same way with Jimmy. We had to pretend he was good too, but now they got to do the same with Drew Lock. But hey, at least we know what Trey Lance is.
Jimmy.
Yeah, he is.
Drew Lock is worse than Jimmy. I promise you. There's things Jimmy Garoppolo does well. I can't think of a thing Drew Lock does well.
Nah, the only thing that Drew Lock's ever done good was dating the Chiefs' daughter, the Chiefs owner's daughter. That's about all he did good at. He never did nothing.
Well, she is gorgeous, so good on him, but he's still bad at football.
He's bad at football, just like Bortles is. You may date the fine chick, but no.
The next game, and here's where your audience may not like me. The next game, they're going to lose. They're absolutely going to lose.
Okay, which team is this
one? In Denver, Sunday Night Football, Russell Wilson owns the 49ers. He literally owns the 49ers. I don't care what team he plays for. If they win that game, they're probably going to win the Super Bowl. Because I just don't think that they have the ability to beat Russell Wilson. They've struggled with him forever. The one time they beat him, a miraculous play was made in the end zone. I still can't believe the play that Greenlaw made in that game.
Was legendary.
I think this is the first loss of the season. And I think that it only helps them get ready for the next game, which is the Super Bowl champions. And I think they're going to kick their fucking ass.
Yeah, because we lost to them on the championship, and we want to get paid back in redemption on them. So,
yes, I think they lose to Denver, but the next week they come out and they kick the shit out of the LA Rams. At home, in front of the fans, second home game of the year. Absolutely think they kick the shit out of them. And this is where the schedule kind of gets interesting, too.
Yeah, and then you said going from the Rams. Okay, so we beat the brakes out of them. So what's next? What's the next opponent, man?
Carolina at Carolina. Hopefully we're playing Jimmy Garoppolo because if we're playing Jimmy Garoppolo, they're going to absolutely shit stomp him. The Carolina Panthers are awful. Like Christian McCaffrey can't stay healthy. I think this will be week 5 by then, CG. And I think that Christian McCaffrey will be hurt for the season because that man can't stay healthy. Yeah. And the following game is at Falcons. They can literally stay on that side of the country for both those games. And they'll probably win both games by a touchdown or more. Like both those teams are terrible. After that, they're home against the Chiefs, and this is where things get a little interesting, right? So you play the Chiefs, and it's going to be interesting to see who the Chiefs are, because I honestly could not tell you what I think of the Kansas City Chiefs right now, because I think Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league, but right now his wide receiving core is a little decimated. So that's one that they could lose, right? But I think that it all comes down to what the Chiefs look like at that point. I'm a big believer in the Denver Broncos and the Denver Broncos winning that division. And so if the Broncos are much better than the Chiefs, they'll win that game for sure.
Yeah, because here's why we might have an advantage against Kansas City, because we got one player that happens to be with the Chiefs back in the day, and he knows Mahomes pretty well. So you got Travarius Ward, who's got the knowledge of where he's going to throw the ball.
Absolutely. Yeah, I really think that that's a winnable game. Then they play the Rams in LA, right? The place of the NFC Championship game, the rematch again. I mean, think about that. They're playing the Rams October 3rd, and then they play them again on October 30th. That's literally 27 days. In 27 days, they play the Super Bowl champions twice.
Yep.
Now, if they win both those games and they win that freaking Broncos game, they're going to the Super Bowl for sure. But I have to say they're probably going to split with them just because we'll see. There's so many questions about these games just because the Rams are the Super Bowl champions and they did finally figure out how to beat the 49ers last year. I'm curious now, do we just get back to our winning ways and just kick their ass multiple times? But I think that they're going to lose the Broncos, but they're going to beat the Rams. But it wouldn't surprise me if they did lose the Rams in LA before the bye week.
Yeah, because the Rams, I think they're a lot better than everybody gives them credit for. But man, I mean, wouldn't it be kind of surprising if we just sweep them again and it just becomes we become like awesome, we become like the Saints of the damn Buccaneers.
Yeah,
they can't beat the damn Saints with Tom Brady out there.
Yeah, exactly. They can't beat the Saints during the season, but they'll beat them in the playoffs and they'll beat them pretty handedly. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with those Rams games just because it is 2 games within 27 days. But the nice thing is they're done with the Rams. They get to the bye week, and it's a mid-season bye week for once. We're not sitting there, 4 games in getting a bye week. We're not having a late bye week. It's right in the middle there. Recoup, get
perfect.
ready. And then what's awesome, too, is it's at home against the Chargers. So you're home for 2 weeks, and then you go to Mexico City. And a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to go to Mexico City. Man, we're in California. What is that? Like a 6-hour flight? And it's literally the same time zone, everything. Like they're not going super far. It's perfect. And you know what the best part is? They don't have to even go into Arizona and play Arizona because that's an Arizona Cardinals home game.
Yeah.
And it's going to be hostile because I would imagine there are more 49er fans in Mexico City than there are Arizona Cardinals fans.
Yep. 2006 was proven wise. We had a lot more of a home fan over there.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's probably a win. That's the problem I have with that being where it is they're going to face Hopkins and Hollywood Brown. And if Hopkins does what he's done to us in the past, that's when I'll get a little worried because I just think that for some reason, no matter who's there, and maybe because we have Ward, things will be different, they can't stop Hopkins. And I understand Hopkins is one of the best wide receivers in the league. I'm not doubting that, but they can't stop him. They've just never been able to.
No, he's tough to stop, but here's the solution. Javarius Ward has always had great matchups against Hopkins. We can go on with all those other players. Like I feel like with Ward, he gives you the shutdown ability. He'll take the best player away, and then it just goes on to our next cornerback to step up, which is Mosley. Mosley's going to get more opportunities.
I think Mosley's an absolute stud, CG. I think a lot of people don't talk enough about him because I think that he was an undrafted free agent. He's not like a stud corner who was drafted in the first round. The kid is immensely talented.
Physically gifted, like he can really like tackle the bigger receivers. He can really get in good coverage. Like his game is little here and there, but dude, he stood out. Like being undrafted it's hard to make the team, but this guy has proven time and time again he deserves to be our starter.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what they'll do with this new secondary with some of the teams they face because that Chargers game that we mentioned too, like that'll be an interesting game because that's another team with really good wide receivers. They like to throw the ball downfield. The 49ers generally, even when they get beat, rarely do they get beat downfield. That's one thing they've been very good at. And that's obviously a testament to the safeties as well, which, we could talk about their safety situation being a little weird because I still have no freaking clue who's going to play next to Jimmy Ward yet.
Yeah,
it's going to be Hufanga or Odom most likely, or more. We're going to have to see. I think that that's an absolute safety competition. I think they're going to let those guys get out there. They're going to compete to see who the starting safety is, and I think that's good for the 49ers, and that's good for the fans because it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think that's going to be an interesting matchup because you got Keenan Allen who can really separate. Mike Williams is a big, tall possession receiver. I mean, they got some other guys out there. I mean, it's kind of like Justin Herbert is like really phenomenal. Like you would have thought maybe the Chargers after Rivers would have been done. No, they drafted this kid Herbert, and he's a little bit like Rivers, if not better. I mean, they just haven't missed a beat.
He might be better than Rivers, but I just don't see. I haven't seen enough from him to be like he is the future of the NFL and he's an absolute stud because he's on the Chargers, and the Chargers just aren't able to win playoff games. They're just incapable of it. And so I have to see it from him first. But if I see it from him, I'll give him props. But right now, I think the 49ers win that game. I think they go on a run here, actually. So we have the Cardinals in Mexico City, the Saints at home. Is there anything about the Saints, CG, that really scares you?
Does Jameis Winston scare me? Nah.
30 for 30?
30 for 30, but what we're talking, but who do they got that's scary? A healthy Michael Thomas, but he didn't play last year.
King. He's the slant king. I don't think the 49ers are afraid of a slant king.
I mean, that's all you got is Michael Thomas. You got Alvin Kamara. Oh, wait, my bad. He's getting busted with the law. My bad. That ain't no.
Did Alvin Kamara get busted with the law? I forgot.
I think he did in Las Vegas.
Oh yeah, he did. You're right. They haven't said what's going to happen to him yet. And then so they play. These are all home games, right? They got 3 home games in a row. They play the Saints at home. That's a win. The Dolphins and Tua Tagovailoa. We'll see how Tua. We'll see how it is at that point because Tua, I don't think is that great. But the Dolphins are being really smart. They have a 49ers offensive coordinator now as their head coach, and they've also finally put weapons around the rookie quarterback. As he's about to hit the time where he has to get paid. So this is a huge season for him. I could see him looking pretty good this season. We'll obviously see, but they've definitely given him his best chance to be successful. I think they'll win that game. The game I think they lose at home will be Tom Brady. Tom Brady's the best. There's nobody better than him. And the Buccaneers are still really good. Now, I think that this is kind of a precursor. I think that they're going to see the Bucs again in the playoffs, but I think that 3 home games in a row, if they can win all 3 of those games, that's huge. But I think they have to lose one, and I think it's the Bucs.
So we get redemption in the playoffs. Is that what we're leaning towards?
I hope so, right? Like that's my ideal scenario.
Green Bay beat us during the regular season. We got our payback.
Yeah. That they've always done that, right? And so then, short week, you fly to Seattle for a Thursday night football game. Now, here's my problem with this: is weird stuff happens in Seattle on Thursday night football games. It's always happened. And it's why I'm not guaranteeing a sweep of the Seahawks, just because Thursday night football, it's weird. It's not.
It is.
It's stupid. It shouldn't exist. But it exists because there's money for Amazon, for people who watch, who pay for Amazon. And so if they lost that game, it would suck, but it wouldn't surprise me if they lost that game. Just because it's in Seattle, weird shit happens, and it's on Thursday night football.
It's tough
now,
too.
It would all depend on if they beat the Bucs, then they might lose to Seattle. If they lose to the Bucs, they might just be pissed and go and beat the shit out of Seattle. Like Seattle's so bad that it might not matter, right? It all comes down to what happens the week before with Tom Brady and that defensive line and that talent that they have over there. And then, so the next week after that is the first time we ever play the Washington Commanders, and they stink. They are terrible. I don't see anything about the Commanders that really scares me. Their wide receiver core is okay. Carson Wentz, I mean, I think he's a worse Jimmy. I think it's another case of another bad or worse player than Jimmy.
But he owns us. That's the tough part.
He owns us with the Eagles, right? Like the Eagles were a lot. I think even when the Eagles were bad, the Eagles were just a matchup nightmare for the 49ers. I think because of their, big defensive line, the 49ers offensive line struggles. I think there was a lot of mismatches there. I don't see a mismatch with this Commanders team. Now, obviously, a ton of depends on, how healthy they are. Their stud pass rusher is coming back from injury. The one who was drafted from Ohio State. What is his name? Oh, my God. I'm drawing a blank right now.
Oh, you're talking about the defense line they just drafted?
No, the one from 2 years ago. He was a first overall pick.
Oh, you're talking about Chase Young, the Ohio State guy.
Yeah, so he'll be back second year of his career. We'll see what he does, but I really suspect that they can, take care of the Commanders.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope we give them to take command and take a whipping for them.
And then the game everyone's going to want to win, right, is just a couple hours, into Nevada to the Las Vegas Raiders. This is the first time the 49ers have played the Raiders since they moved to Las Vegas, right? And so I hope we go in there and beat their ass, but they have Devontae Adams. And so
we got Ward who can shut down Adams too. So
yeah. And then I think their pass rush is going to be better than it's been. I think this is a real dogfight. I think this is, towards the end of the season, you're dealing with injuries. It's built up. It's in Vegas. It's New Year's Day. There's a lot going on there. They could win that game. They could very well lose that game. Now, I hope they don't lose that game because I'm going to go on another rant again. There are people who live in the Bay Area and have decided that they want to root for a team that has left the Bay Area. So there are people who live in the Bay Area and wear Raider hats, despite the fact that the team does not want to be here. They left. They want nothing to do with you. Root for the team that actually plays in the city you live or in the area you live. Why are you a Raider fan? They don't give a fuck about you. They
exactly
left. So that's, with the Raiders, I don't know what's going to happen. But I know there's going to be some annoying ass fans because Raider fans are a bunch of dumbasses.
No, I mean, you're right about it. Like, who wants to root for a team? That's like saying you're okay with your abandoned dad leaving you and you're not going to ever talk to him. Come on, man. Like one of your families leaves you behind and you're still going to root for them or still be talking to them.
Exactly. Why are you rooting for them? They left you. They don't give a shit about you. Why are you putting their logos on your car? They want nothing to do with the area you live in. So
it's pretty much like, fuck you, and we're moving to Vegas. Fuck you.
Yeah. I really want to see him beat the Raiders. I think that would be a huge deal for the 49ers.
I got a good feeling this could happen. The way we play against the Raiders, Carr does not like getting to that pressure, man. I'm telling you, the Bosa brothers, they can get the Carr. You got Joey who knows them pretty well. I mean, if Derek has faced the other Bosa, I'm pretty sure he would hate to face this other one.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens, but I think that they should be able to take care of business. The last game of the season is Arizona at home in San Francisco, and weird shit happens the final week of the season. Hopefully, in an ideal world, we're talking about a 49ers team that's already made the playoffs, already clinched their spot, all that shit, and they can just rest Trey Lance, they can rest their players and not really have to care as much. And, the Cardinals are the team that are actually playing to make the playoffs. But ultimately, we'll see. I just don't see, sweeping teams in your own division is very hard.
It's going to be hard, yeah.
The Seahawks, I think they can sweep. There's weird factors that could happen because it is a Thursday night game. But I don't think they'll sweep the Cardinals. I think they'll win that Mexico City game because, they're really – I don't really think they're traveling. They're playing the Chargers at home. And they're traveling to Mexico City. It's not really an away game. It's more, they have a bye week, a home game, and a home game. It's just not a home game at Levi's Stadium. But it's, it's on the same time zone. It's Mexico City. It's not Germany. If it was Germany, then yeah, okay. Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, it's just it's same zone area, so yeah.
I mean, if we think about it, right? The 49ers have a bye week, a home game against the Chargers, that Mexico City game, home game against the Saints, home game against the Dolphins, and home game against the Bucks. That's a great stretch right there. If they can win all those games, they're probably going to be one of the better teams in the league, but we'll see. But I would not be surprised if they lose this final game of the season to the Arizona Cardinals. I don't think they'll be able to sweep the Rams or the Cardinals this year. I think they will sweep the Seahawks.
Those two are 50-50. It's 50-50 with those two. In Seattle, like you said, it's pretty much like 70% of it because, like you said, if it wasn't for the weird Thursday night, it can be weird. Yeah,
if it wasn't Thursday Night Football, they would kick their ass twice, for sure. But the Thursday Night Football thing makes things weird, for sure. I'm
not a big fan of Thursday Night Football. It just ruins the weeks for all teams.
Oh yeah, it's awful. It's awful. Yeah, absolutely. It's terrible. Like, there's no reason for Thursday Night Football to exist other than money.
Yeah, I guess, like you said, it's just the money, all this stuff, and all the ratings. I guess that's how they take it. But man, dude, I like your energy, man. Like, that's kind of tight, man. You're giving me like the actual true message, man. Like, why are you motherfuckers still rooting for them damn team if they leaving y'all like that? And then you're talking like shit about Seattle, like, oh yeah, why you guys so delusional?
I worked there for 4 years. They're the most delusional fan base on the planet. No one's more delusional than the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, dude. No. I'll tell you what's more delusional, a Dallas Cowboy fan. Bar none, bro. I was born in Dallas. My families are Cowboy fans. You got nothing to do. You got nothing but freaking delusional fan base. It's our year to win the Super Bowl. We're going to win the damn Super Bowl. And then you got these uneducated other fan base, the one that left to the other side.
Yeah, come on. No, I think the Eagles are the best team in the Cowboys division this year. I think that with A.J. Brown, I think that just helps Jalen Hurts. It'll be interesting to see how well Jalen Hurts plays this year because I think this is probably the last year they give him a chance before they're like, okay, let's move on and find someone better to play quarterback. But the Eagles are not a terrible team at all. I think they're talented. They've drafted well. Dallas, on the other hand, as long as Jerry Jones is there, as long as their head coach is Mike McCarthy. They are nobodies. And the 49ers went into their building and laid the smackdown on them. I think people forget that game was a blowout, and Jimmy Garoppolo threw the ball to the team because he's a dumbass. And that's the only reason that they were in that game. The 49ers kicked the Dallas Cowboys ass in their own building.
Embarrassed them in the playoffs. Yeah.
Embarrassed them. And the only reason it was close was because Jimmy Garoppolo. And so I've said it a million times, CG, if Trey Lance is better than Jimmy Garoppolo, in just an above average way, there's no stopping this 49er team. Because they have already tasted the playoffs. They know what it tastes like. They know what they want. They know how to win. Now they need the talent to win it all. And if this kid is good, they have the talent to win it all.
Without a doubt, man. Oh, let me give a huge shout out to Jaguile 56 with the $5 donation. Pretty fair schedule. Great bye week right in the middle of the season. Not bad travel games either. Beat Saints, Falcons, Panthers, and Bears and Washington, Finns and Bucks. I agree, man. It's pretty fair balance if you think about it, because if it's on week 9, that's fine. But if it's early, like week 6 or below, it's not a good bye week. I just think if you take it in the middle of the season, it's perfect.
Yeah, no, right in the middle of the season is the ideal time to have it. And I think that hopefully that'll help maybe regulate some of the injuries, because you're always going to see injuries. It's the NFL, right?
Yeah.
But with a midweek bye week, it'll hopefully regulate some of the injuries, keep you healthy, because, we want to see a long playoff run. We want to see them, have a chance at the Super Bowl.
Yeah, for sure. I believe that it depends on it. But okay, so before we end the show, man, let me ask you one last question before you end it, since it's pretty interesting, since you kind of feel the same way. Like, if you had to list top 5 teams you despise the most, man, just give me your top 5.
Top 5? All sports, or just the NFL?
Just the NFL, like the teams you can't stand in the NFL. Like, you just hate with a passion.
Okay. Let's go with number 5. I'm going to go with... This is actually pretty hard if you think about this. The Pittsburgh Steelers, because they literally pack your stadium. Like, it's so fucking annoying. Every time you go to a game versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, their fans pack your stadium. Like, literally, there's just a million of them. Like, they just replicate, and they pack your stadium, right? 4, we're going to go with the Raiders. I've already said why. For some reason, people in the Bay Area are like, oh, the Raiders, they are our team. They don't play anywhere near us, but that's our team. Okay. Dallas, number 3, because of the fact that they are just so delusional. They have no fucking clue what they're even watching. Their fans don't understand football. Their fans don't know what they're watching. They're going to ruin Dak Prescott, who I actually really like. I like Dak Prescott a lot. I think he's super talented, and they're literally ruining him playing with Mike fucking McCarthy. Why on God you hire Mike McCarthy as your head coach is insane to me. 2, the Los Angeles Rams, because I was on Twitter Spaces looking to fight with Rams fans before that game. I could not find a single one to talk to. Not one wanted to talk to me. And then they win the Super Bowl, and they're all everywhere talking shit, talking about how Jimmy G is going to be our quarterback, talking about how, oh my God, we beat you in the NFC Championship. We beat you 6 times in a row. Could you imagine losing to someone at something 6 times in a row and be like, we're still better? No, you got lucky because Jimmy Garoppolo fucking sucks. You got lucky because eventually something had to give, because Jimmy Garoppolo has no idea how to throw a touchdown pass in the playoffs. You got lucky. You lost to us 6 times in a row. That is ownage. And I would suspect that ownage is going to continue here real soon if Trey Lance is good. And then, of course, number 1, the Seattle Seahawks. Because who the fuck is so cocky that they call their fan base something that the freaking Texas A&M made up years ago and said, nah, this is our slogan. We're 12s. What are you doing? Make up something original. I don't know if Faithful's original, but at least it sounds original. 12s doesn't even sound original. You just have to type in 12s and you know exactly where it came from. Not to mention the fact I have Seahawks fans in my mentions daily telling me how Russell Wilson isn't that good. Are you fucking kidding me? The man literally has single-handedly brought you to the playoffs. How many years? And you're telling me he's not good? Okay, have fun watching Drew Lock, because then you're going to realize how good he was. But that's my 5.
Oh, that's definitely okay. I want to give you my top 5, and it's going to be easy. So, number 5, the Green Bay Packers, the most delusional fan base, the most uneducated, dumbest fan base I've ever seen. Like, I can't stand them for whatever reason. They think that Aaron Rodgers is the greatest thing since the living soul, whatever, man. They think this guy's still going to get them back to a Super Bowl, which we all know it's not going to happen. And their head coach is just another copy of freaking Kyle Shanahan, if I'm being honest. Matt LaFleur is just nothing more than just a copycatter of him. And then you got number 4, the LA Rams. They just, I'm going to give you my frustration about why I can't stand those damn fans, bro. They didn't have the nerves. They just showed up all of a sudden. Eventually, they just ghost, and then they come out of nowhere. But let me give you my thoughts of the damn Rams. The reason why I put y'all number 4, because y'all haven't done shit, and y'all finally did something, but I'm going to give you my expression. I'm going to put this on a funny sound, bro. This is what we always been doing to the Rams. We've been complete ownage, and they've been that way.
Same old sorry-ass Rams. So long!
Y'all make number 4 because you guys are fucking trash. Y'all won 2 damn Lombardis, one in St. Louis and one over here. Now y'all talking like you're the king of the NFL because you won a damn Super Bowl. How about you win another one? So that would be number 4. And then number 3 is the damn Raiders. Most delusional fan base in all of sports. I get it. Y'all passionate. Y'all crazy. But y'all got no respect for this damn fan base, man. Y'all want to start fights. Y'all want to start shit with us. That's the only problem I got with the Raider fans, is the fact that they're the most delusional. I don't got nothing against the organization, just the fan base. They're just a little out there. And then you got, okay. Then my number 2. This is going to be interesting, man. So my most hated team that goes from number 2, man, it is ridiculous. I'm definitely going to tell you why. Number 2, it's just the fact that I can't stand them. The Patriots, man, those fucking dynasty piece of shit, man. Fuck Tom Brady. Anything that Tom Brady puts in that fucking legacy. At first, I would have just never put him on the list, but I'm getting sick of those damn fan base, those fucking fake ass bandwagons. Fuck them. And then number 1. Y'all already know what number 1 is, the fucking Cowboys. I fucking hate them motherfuckers to this day. Born in the city of Dallas and can give a rat's fuck about them motherfuckers. I just can't stand the fan base. My family is one of those.
Oh.
And it's a unique list, huh?
That is a unique list. I honestly, so the reason I don't hate Dallas as much as everyone else does is because my grandfather was a diehard Dallas Cowboys fan. So I've always kind of like respected his,
That's the same way with my family, but I just always had that little hate passion, little difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. But hey, it was a good stream, man. I love your energy, man. It was just a great time, man. Definitely need to go on your show, or let me know if you ever want to come back on, man. I just love that energy.
Yeah, I appreciate you for being on. Thanks, man. We'll definitely do something soon. Thanks again. I really appreciate it. I had a ton of fun. It was a great time.
Yeah. Let me give you the solo so you can get your final say.
Oh, okay. You can check me out at Niner849 on Twitter. Remember, if you're checking it out, if you enjoyed anything I said, go over to Niner8's Nonsense on YouTube. Just hit that subscribe button. Just hit it just a little bit for me. I appreciate it, especially if you're a fan of CG. Appreciate anyone who goes on there and does that for me. That's it. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Have a good night.
You too, bro. As always, CG Ruthless Sports and Niner8 is out, and you already know. Go Niners.